this story is important for a couple reasons. One, it's a beautiful moment. You know, when I started working on this book, I thought it had taken a long time, but actually the fires were burning. You know, the whole civil rights thing was just popping. And this was a period of 3 months where everything just whooshed and ended in this, you know, victorious march all the way to Montgomery. It's a period of time that kids don't really know about today. Not only does it stand on its own, but it's also, I found it really representative of the whole civil rights struggle. Everything's in there. You've got you've got incredible white racism, you've got magnetic, charismatic leaders, you've got passionate people from all over the country coming in to help. Everything is in that 3-month period. And I agree with Linda Lowry, the youngest person to walk from Selma to Montgomery on the march. We wouldn't be where we are today without this march. It was amazing how young some of these kids were. And the parents at first were terrified. They did not want their children doing this. Bloody Sunday galvanized a lot of parents. I mean, this was their children and the children they knew being beaten up. And that did it. They were like, okay, we're with you. But yeah, the kids held a heavy load until that point. And after that point, of course, because the parents couldn't lose their homes, their jobs, you know, their whole standing in the community. The white power structure could eradicate them very quickly. One of the most amazing things about this book is the connections between then and now and how we make them. For me, when I was studying history, it had to be relevant to me. Otherwise, I was like, oh, please, names and dates, battles, blah. So I love how there are connections today for kids. Like, you know, what does it mean to have an African-American president? Where did this come from in our legacy? How long did this take that this could happen? One of the exciting things for me was when I was zipping around on the internet and I ran into the 2 Google Lit Trips, which is googlelittrips.com. The Google Lit Trips is this fantastic site where a man named Jerome Berg put together stories where he tracks them using Google Earth so that you see the path a character or multiple characters have taken during the book. So he and I have been working together to put together a Google Lit Trip for Marching for Freedom. So you can actually fly in on Google Earth and look around at all these places in Selma where this activity took place. And then we can have these little boxes you open up where you have photographs that I couldn't fit in the book, quotes that I couldn't fit in the book, and ideas for kids to think about to make the information relevant to them. It is so fun. It's amazingly fun. Like, you can fly from Selma to Montgomery and go to the Capitol building in 3D. And even for me, after all the research I'd done doing that, I started to get a sense of where this whole thing had taken place. So, yeah, it's wonderful. When I interviewed Linda Lowry, and she told me about being jailed, and she was so specific. There's one point they were kept in jail for 3 days. There was over 20 young women in one jail cell. These were teenagers. These are kids you want to know are home safe in bed at night, you know? So they asked for some help after 3 days because one of the girls was sick. And instead, the sheriff pushed in some brooms and told them to sweep out the jail cell instead of helping this girl who was sick. And Linda took one of the broom handles and smashed out. There was a window with bars. She smashed it out overlooking the street and started yelling for help. She'd had enough. She wanted some way to get some help in that jail cell. The deputies took Linda and the other girls that were in the cell and put them in what's called a black box, which is a metal box that clangs shut. They were stuffed in there like sardines. There's no air. And when Linda, she passed out. And when she came to, the deputies had gotten other convicts to carry the girls out of was snow. I was appalled. I was absolutely appalled that a bunch of white men would treat these young women. It's kind of unfathomable. I was also struck by her courage. We have a great quote from her. I wasn't brave, I wasn't courageous, I was determined. That's how I got to Montgomery. But I disagree. Linda was extremely brave. One of the things I love doing with the photographs is it was typical for the photographers at the time to take the photographs and never ask for any names. They were just the people who were marching. One of the things I absolutely loved doing was going through these photo collections, finding people, and getting other people or them to name those kids to make them real people. And it would escalate. I began recognizing people. One of the great things about doing a book like this is to get so into the book, you start living there. So I was between the interviews and the songs, and they had these incredible freedom songs. I put people down there recording them, and Smithsonian Folkways has these songs available. You can download these kids singing freedom songs, 99 cents a song. It's amazing. So I just got into that whole world, started living there. So I started recognizing people and understanding who the families were. It's been great. I have a few more I'm dying to get the names of. I asked a woman named Jean West to do a curriculum guide, and she's got some great photo lesson plans you can do, and great ways of engaging kids in volunteerism that teachers can use in the classrooms. I'm really hoping that we can use this as a way of inspiring kids to both be involved in their community, be involved in doing things, know they can make changes. And especially one way they can do it is using photography as a documentary medium. Because that is very different than the kind of randomized, here's my friend at the party kind of photograph. I hope it's a peek into a historical period. I also hope that young readers can see that they can make a difference. They can individually or collectively work together to make their world better.